In clear unanimity, stakeholders across all divides yesterday hailed the National Assembly on inclusion of electronic transmission of election results in the Electoral Act Amendment Bill and urged President Muhammadu Buhari to immediately sign the bill into law as soon as he gets it. However, the stakeholders were split on imposition of direct primaries on political parties as the mode of choosing candidates for elections. The Senate on Tuesday made a U-turn on its earlier position that the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) could only transmit election results electronically with the approval of the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC). Now, if the new electoral bill is transmitted to President Buhari and is assented into law, INEC is empowered to transmit election results electronically as it pleases without recourse to the NCC. The move drew cheers in the polity yesterday, with Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki saying without electronic transmission of results, his re-election in September 2020 would have been aborted. Meanwhile, the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC) commended the Senate for the move and flayed the main opposition People's Democratic Party (PDP) for accusing it of using the National Assembly to plot rigging of elections. The APC reaffirmed its commitment and support for constitutionally permitted innovations that will improve the transparency and credibility of Nigeria's electioneering processes and internal democracy, specifically the nomination of political party candidates. National Secretary of its Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee (CECPC), Senator John James Akpanudo disclosed this in a statement in Abuja yesterday. The party's position is against the backdrop of Tuesday's Senate amendments to the Electoral Act, which will ultimately be forwarded to the President for assent. A top-party official had on Tuesday told Vanguard that the party was not keen on reacting to the development until the President takes a decision on it. However, after the opposition PDP accused it of planning to rig elections through the imposition of direct primaries on parties by the APC-led Senate, the ruling party said the soundbite from the PDP should be ignored in its entirety because the PDP is only pretending to be an opposition political party. However, APC said the patriotic disposition of the multi-partisan 9th National Assembly should be commended. It is the right thing for the National Assembly to aggregate and consider the clamor by civil societies, interested stakeholders, and indeed all Nigerians on all matters requiring legislation, APC stated. The ruling party said, in line with its progressive mantra, the credibility of elections had continued to improve under the President Buhari's led APC government. Valid votes now count and past practices of electoral fraud inflicted on Nigerians by past PDP administrations are fast becoming a thing of the past. At party level, the APC Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee (CECPC), under the leadership of Governor Mai Mala Buni, has entrenched internal democracy in nomination processes as recorded in recent and successful nationwide congresses conducted by the party. Also, the Pan-Yoruba Socio-Political Organization Afenifere, while hailing the Senate for amending the Electoral Act, urged the President to sign the bill to enable INEC conduct credible elections. Afenifere's National Publicity Secretary, Mr. Jaire Ajayi, said, "It is quite commendable on the part of the Senate to reverse its decision on the electronic transmission of results. It is commendable because this position is in line with the expectations of Nigerians. For that reason, the onus is now on President Muhammadu Buhari to, as urgently as possible, sign the amended electoral bill into law so that there will be no encumbrance of any sort for INEC to go ahead and conduct transparent, credible, and fair elections across the country. So we use this opportunity to urge President Buhari to quickly assent to the bill. The recommendations by the Senate that all political parties select their candidates through direct primaries. This is surprising because it negates the true essence of democracy in the sense that political parties have the right to decide whichever method they want to use. Meanwhile, Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta State said passage of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2021 by the National Assembly, which empowered the INEC to transmit election results electronically, will greatly eliminate electoral fraud. Okowa, in a statement by his chief press secretary, Mr. Olisa Ifejika, described the Senate's decision to hearken to the wish of Nigerians by reversing itself and voting to include electronic transmission of results in the amendment of the electoral law as a victory for democracy. The governor said laws are made for the people, not for personal interest, and as such, we must always act in the interest of the public. Part of the challenges we are facing today as a nation stems from lack of faith in the electoral process, which has huge implications for socio-economic activities in the country, including foreign direct investment. Once we are able to get the people to have faith in our electoral process, where the people can truly decide who leads them, part of our problems would have been solved. Also, Governor Godwin Obaseki of Edo State backed the Senate's decision to reverse its earlier resolution on electronic transmission of election results, affirming that he would probably not have returned as governor but for the use of technology by the INEC. He also, for the obstinate time, vowed not to go back to the APC. The governor said this while fielding questions from the State House correspondent after meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari at the villa in Abuja. He said, "If not for God and the technology utilized by INEC, I may not be able to be governor today. So, I'm one of those that believe that we cannot and should not have elections in this country going into the future without transmitting results electronically from the polling units, because for elections to be credible, they have to be seen as transparent, and once you have voted, you should be assured that your vote will count. With technology today, it is possible, and INEC has shown it from our election, that as soon as you voted and the results have been counted in the polling unit, then that result should be made available such that you already know what you expect to be collected at the ward collation points." What happened in many cases in the past is that people go and vote. The votes are counted in the polling units, they know, but by the time it gets to the collision point, it changes. But this time around, because of the transparency, everybody will see and know what they are expecting to be collated from the polling unit. This is what happened in my election. So I'm very strong advocate for electronic transmission of results from elections, and I want to also note that from my personal experience, INEC has the capacity, INEC has the technology, and also the understanding of how these things should work. So they should be encouraged. I hope and pray that the president will assent to that bill.